Okay, today is Sunday, 12th of April 2026, 11 AM, temperature 27 degrees Celsius, which is about 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Still only mid-April, but the weather's definitely warming up and the breeding season is well underway. So here are some Miyuki eggs, which were produced on 7th of April, which is only 5 days ago. And I think if you look carefully, providing it's going to focus, you can see this morning some of the eggs have already hatched. A very small fry swimming around. So definitely the breeding season is well underway. And 5 days from producing eggs to hatching is very fast. So today it's the 7th in the basic series. This series is getting longer than I actually thought, but never mind, I'll carry on. And I'll talk about food for MEDAKA. And I'll start by saying that because this series is about keeping MEDAKA outdoors, I think that the MEDAKA get enough supply of natural live food from insects that fall in the water or mosquito eggs, and from zooplankton that may live in the water in the tubs. Therefore, only provide them with processed dry fish food. If I kept MEDAKA in an indoor aquarium, I'd probably try to find some live food for them so they get a comprehensive diet. Now, most sources of information about MEDAKA state that MEDAKA are omnivores. They eat both animal-based food and plant-based food. From a biological standpoint, it's probably correct to classify MEDAKA as omnivores, but I think this can be misleading because in the wild, the natural diet is, if you like, strongly carnivorous, consisting primarily of mosquito larvae, eggs, microcrustaceans, etc., that live in the streams and the rice fields. Now, I mean, MEDAKA will still eat small amounts of plant detritus, etc., but usually only if animal-based food is not easily available. For example, I've seen mention of a study, the stomach contents of MEDAKA in the wild, where it's found that MEDAKA's diet consists of 98% animal matter and only 2% plant matter. I mean, on the other hand, there are fish such as goldfish, which are also classified as omnivores, which have a diet which is more balanced between carnivorous and herbivorous, i.e. they consume a higher proportion of plant-based matter such as algae and young plants, etc. And a goldfish digestive system are more able to obtain nutrients from plant-based material compared to MEDAKA. To put it simply, the optimum processed dry food for MEDAKA should have a higher protein content than the fish food often supplied as food suitable for general aquarium fish. For example, goldfish food may have only a 30 to 35% protein content, whereas food for MEDAKA ideally should have a protein content of above 40%. Now, in Japan, there are many types of MEDAKA food, different brands and all sorts of stuff with extra vitamins or whatever to enhance the breeding of MEDAKA or egg laying of MEDAKA or the colours, whatever. So I've got a friend who brings some of them back for me from Japan, and I got a few other simpler examples here. Now, This one is food from a 100 yen store, Daiso, similar to like a dollar store in America or whatever. And this costs in Japan costs the equivalent of about $1 US. It's got a 42% protein content, and it floats, and it's like sort of small granules. But obviously, you know, very cheap, because there's 35 grams in there, which will last quite a long time. So one of maybe the specialist ones, for example, is this one. You're going for sort of adult MEDAKA, and I think it's got seaweed extract in it or something, which enhances the colour of Miyuki or similar fish, either the silver ones or blue sheen Miyuki. And there's another one here from Tetra, which I think is a good quality brand. This is again sort of small floating granules for adults. It's claimed that if the fish eat this food, then the MEDAKA will produce 2 times the usual number of eggs. Whether that's true or not, I don't really know. And that costs about the equivalent in Japan, the equivalent of about $1 US 50 cents. We've got this one. This one I think costs about $1 US. So those are those 3. And I mean, also in Japan, there's this one which is floating flake food for general aquarium fish, but this has a protein content of 46%. So I mean, completely suitable for MEDAKA. So you know, I just show those as examples of what you can get. But there are very many more you can get in Japan. You know, I mean, it seems to me that fish food outside of Japan is usually more expensive, and fish food specifically for MEDAKA is usually much more expensive outside of Japan. So I think that any fish food with a protein content above 40% is fine for MEDAKA if you're keeping them outdoors, so long as the food is small enough for the MEDAKA to eat. And as MEDAKA are surface feeders, having food that floats is preferable. So if I don't have any specific MEDAKA food, I use any flake food I can find that has a high enough protein content, and it's good because it floats. And if you tip it in, even juvenile MEDAKA will sort of break off bits from it, almost like a hunting instinct, which is just to encourage their hunting instinct. They break off bits, as you can see, and swallow them whole if necessary. I fed them just recently, so they're not that hungry today at the moment, but they're definitely flake food, I think. Yeah, it gives them something to do by breaking it up into smaller pieces. Perhaps I'll just add that there is a view that food with a lower protein content of say 30 to 35% is advisable in cooler weather for MEDAKA, because the higher protein content can't be handled properly by a MEDAKA's digestive system in cold water. It's something I've not actually experienced because in my subtropical climate I don't think it's necessary, but it might be something worth considering if you're in a temperate climate and it gets towards winter time. Perhaps another thing I should emphasize is that my MEDAKA are just ordinary, basic, robust strains, and they thrive happily on any ordinary fish food with a high enough protein content. But maybe if you've got more exotic, more delicate strains of MEDAKA, they may require a better quality of fish food, maybe specific MEDAKA food, if you want to keep them in good condition. Okay.